What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including all-out chaos, as CM Punk has a meltdown and goes crazy on AEW stars. AEW stars threatened to walk out. CM Punk had a backstage fight and took the first swing. Tony Khan blasts WWE. Did an AEW star hint at leaving? Did Kevin Owens throw shade at CM Punk on the sly? And much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and a non-wrestling channel, Incredible. And now let's see the intro and get straight into our top story. Our top story looks at all-out chaos. The top of today's news is the all-out chaos in All Elite Wrestling. We're not referring to the 4th September all-out pay-per-view, but the backstage chaos that occurred after the show. As firstly, CM Punk had a meltdown going crazy on AEW stars. As CM Punk delivered another pipe bomb, this time during All Out's post-show media scrum. Punk, who captured the AEW World Heavyweight Championship that night against Jon Moxley, blasted AEW's EVPs when he answered a question about his former friend Colt Cabana working in AEW. For those unfamiliar with AEW's EVPs, they're the Young Bucks of Nick and Matt Jackson and Kenny Omega. Punk reportedly had backstage heat with Hangman Adam Page, a friend of AEW's EVPs, after Page made public comments about Punk. Here are the highlights from Punk's response. The fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't effing manage a target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put it into the media that I got somebody fired when I had F all to do with him. Want nothing to do with him, do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is embarrassing. And if y'all at fault, F you. If you're not, I apologize. Rumors have circulated that Colt Cabana was moved to Ring of Honor, with some believing it was done to placate Punk, who had been at odds with Cabana for years. Some also believe this motivated Hangman Adam Page to question Punk's loyalty to AEW and the locker room. Punk addressed this saying, "What did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed effing dumb F like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and effing go into business for himself? For what? What did I do? What did I ever do? Didn't do a goddamn thing." It's not like Tony Khan's position to make it very clear that Punk didn't have anything to do with Cabana being moved to Ring of Honor. There were people who call themselves EVPs that should have known better. This was none of their business. But Punk continued his tirade, claiming the incident hurt his chances to help AEW with a mega money box office. "I'm trying to run an effing business. When somebody who hasn't done a damn thing in this business jeopardizes the first $1 million house that this company has ever drawn off my back and goes on national television and does that, it's a disgrace to this industry. It's a disgrace to this company." And now we're far beyond apologies. I gave him a chance. As you might expect, this did not go over well with the subjects of Punk's tirades, as AEW stars even threatened to walk out. A Fightful Select have now reported that the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were extremely pissed off about Punk's comments. Fightful had claimed that the EVPs were threatening to leave the company. The Select report adds the members of the Elite were scheduled to be part of the scrum, but an adjustment was made. Next up, CM Punk started a fight backstage. In a further update, Brian Alvarez on the Wrestling Observer Radio discussed the incident and claims that there was indeed an altercation. Alvarez stated, "Apparently there was an altercation after Punk left the press conference. He was obviously very mad, and we had multiple sources state that there was an altercation. I wasn't there, I don't know everything that happened, but many people said that there was an altercation with Punk and the Young Bucks. I don't know who else was there, but it happened and everybody knew about it, and a security guard did in fact go running out of the press conference. I would presume that there were people that did the press conference that knew that this had happened, but Tony Khan did not know that it happened because Tony Khan did not have his phone and nobody told him until after." According to Ringside News, CM Punk's blow-up after All Out caused a huge ordeal. "We can confirm the physical altercation as was previously reported. Also, we're told Punk took the first swing. Punk made it very clear that if you're either for him or he wants you gone. The locker room is 100% divided right now." Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, who were at All Out, commented on Wrestling Observer Radio that they saw a security officer and assumed a fight had broken out. Although it's unknown if the two Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online editors heard or saw anything. Next up, Punk goes off on MJF. CM Punk had some words of wisdom for MJF, who returned to AEW All Out after winning the Casino Battle Royal, where he competed under a mask. MJF, who unmasked himself at the end of All Out, now holds a contract for an AEW World Championship match and seems to be headed for a showdown with Punk. During the media scrum, the new AEW World Champ commented, I don't know, I'm tired of wrestling these pricks. I'm tired of wrestling these kids that they think they know everything. MJF had disappeared from AEW television following Double or Nothing, apparently due to an argument he had over his pay and status in AEW. Punk addressed MJF's supposed backstage bickering as well as anyone else who is unhappy in AEW. I think Max is a supremely talented individual, but this goes for him and anyone in the locker room who doesn't want to be here. The grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it, and Max likes to shit everywhere he eats instead of watering the grass. So we'll have to see how that goes. There's definitely something going on backstage at AEW, and at this point, the company seems to be crumbling apart. Look out for another video where we dive even deeper. Next up, Tony Khan blasts WWE. It looks like the WWE has found another way to get under Tony Khan's skin, as the AEW president blasted the WWE for running 2 shows the same weekend as AEW's All Out pay-per-view. Khan commented, "There's a big difference between this year and last year. We were the first professional wrestling show and the only professional wrestling show on Labor Day weekend last year, and we were the 3rd professional wrestling show of the weekend this year. I don't think that's a coincidence." DK made it clear he wasn't pleased with the WWE's decision to compete against AEW's event, and while Clash at the Castle was held on Saturday and Worlds Collider was held at 4 PM, ending before All Out, AEW didn't have an open weekend like last year. When I talked about things I wasn't thrilled about, I was a little surprised we were the 3rd professional wrestling show this weekend, and it's probably a little more challenging in the marketplace when it becomes a little more crowded. Khan said that he was happy with All Out's numbers, especially in light of the competition. If Khan is a student of wrestling that he claims to be, he should always expect fierce competition from WWE. After all, the WWE ran NXT directly against Dynamite when it first aired, and AEW has accused the WWE of tampering with AEW stars under contract. Khan addressed this story in his overall experience with the WWE. "I've had a number of interactions with WWE. I've said a lot of nice stuff, and I don't regret saying nice stuff because I'm super honest about pro wrestling. And when I saw good stuff there, I'll be the first to say it. I am just not feeling the same love. I don't want to get into it. I just haven't felt the same reciprocation from them. AEW has helped the WWE out by lending contracted stars to appear on WWE programming, such as Chris Jericho's interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin on the Broken Skull sessions, and various AEW stars who made video appearances during John Cena's 20-year anniversary celebration. It appears that Khan has reached his limit, and he warned, "If it is, when the fight is brought, I will continue bringing fights of my own, and I have unique ways to do that. I have a lot of money to fight with, and this is not a game to me. This is my life, and I don't think it's a joke, and I take it really seriously." What do you think of Khan's criticism? What might he do to fight back at the WWE? Next up, what happened with Christian vs Jungle Boy's match? I'm wondering why Christian Cage vs Jungle Boy match didn't even make it to the 30-second mark? Well, it turns out that Captain Charisma was hurt and couldn't work the match. While fans are still waiting for an explanation why Luchasaurus turned on Jungle Boy, as a mass monster chokeslammed Jungle Boy and also planted him through a table before throwing him to the ring with Cage, we now know why Cage polished Jungle Boy off in quick fashion. There's no word on the extent of Cage's injury, but we will continue following the story. Next up, an AEW star injured at All Out. As bad news for Ruby Soho, as a Wrestling Observer's Ethan Renard reports, Soho suffered a broken nose during a tag team match during All Out 0-hour pre-show. Soho's injury came at a conclusion as Sammy Guevara and Tay Mello versus Ortiz and Soho in the AAA Mixed Tag Team title match, as Soho took a TKO from Mello directly to the face. Soho immediately covered her face with her hands as Mello pinned her, then she was checked on by referee Rick Knox. Soho continued to hold her hands over her face as she left the ringside area. We're wishing Ruby Soho a fast and full recovery though. Next up, did an AEW star hint at leaving? Now, there's been considerable chatter about one or more AEW stars requesting their releases, and now fans are looking at Malachi Black's post-match activities as a hint the leader of the House of Black is leaving AEW. You may recall Wrestling Inc.'s Raj Giri's report that Black had requested his release from AEW, and now Wrestling News' Paul Davis is reporting that Black blew a kiss into the crowd and took a bow as he walked up the stage. The report also noted that fellow House of Black members Brody King and Buddy Matthews hugged him. Could Black have received his release? If so, will he return to WWE? And finally, did Kevin Owens throw shade at CM Punk on the sly? Last but not least, did Kevin Owens throw some shade at CM Punk on the sly via social media? Well, that's a theory some fans and critics have made following a tweet by Kevin Owens. Wrestle Talk saw it as Kevin Owens took to Twitter following Punk's appearance with a photo of himself and Stone Cold in the main event of WrestleMania 38 Saturday in April. It has been speculated that with the timing of this post, it was a shot at Punk, as Punk's goal while with the WWE was to headline a WrestleMania event, which ultimately didn't happen. Owens is notably friends with AEW's EVPs Matt and Nick Jackson, with the trio previously part of the Mount Rushmore faction with Adam Cole from 2013 to 14. Do you think Owens was sending a message to Punk? If so, will Punk respond? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.